existing factory use slash bakery. So who is representing? I see Miss Leader is here. Thank you for joining us. You're taking yourself off mute, which is perfect. If there's anyone in the public that wishes to speak after Miss Leader speaks, please raise your hand or say something so we can acknowledge you. Thank you.
Well, I can speak more intelligently about bread, so I'm going to hand it over to Chris Smaler, our wonderful architect, and he will be much briefer and more to the point, and you'll get better information from him. Take it away, Chris.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. And thank you, everybody, for having us here this evening. I'm Chris Smaler with Dutton Architecture, and are working with Bread Alone on the renovation of their existing bread factory facility in Boyceville. That involves renovations of the entire interior of the facility, and then two small additions totaling about 2,000 square feet on the rear or south side and the east side of the building. In addition to that work, we're also doing a considerable amount of site work around the building in reconfiguring parking and creating a much more consumer and user-friendly interface to the building, really with the intent of better connecting the public to the process of what Bread Alone does and has been doing at this facility. So that's really the long and short of it. The intent is that with the site, it's a very green area in that we have rain gardens for our treatment of stormwater. We have a very significant PV solar component to offset the electrical usage on the project. We've split up the parking so that it's reduced size lots, and have created at least 4 different seating, meandering green areas for people to gather and enjoy the products. So with that, I'll turn it over to any questions public might have.
So thank you, Mr. Smaler. Is there anyone out there that wishes to ask a question or make a comment? And if you do, just raise your hand so we can see you and or hear you. Bueller? No comments, no questions? That's fantastic.
All right, here we go.
About how sometimes things can go fast.
So I'll make a motion that we suspend the comment period of the public hearing for SP7 Bread Alone. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Heidi. Did you get those, Janelle?
I did.
Great. Okay, wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, hang on, don't leave yet.
More to come.
Yeah. So next steps here. Let me just get my files here.
Well, I did have a couple questions as well. And Helene, can you put the...
Sure can.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Yeah.
First is just for my own understanding. Before we had rain gardens and perhaps a kind of retention pond, I see a plunge pool now, and I'm just curious what a plunge pool is. And
it's a sounds a lot more glorious than it is. If you look on the stormwater documents, there's a detail in there, and it's essentially where the swale water is taken from a point into a pipe that goes into the storm system.
Okay.
So it's maybe
in this particular case, what is the storm system?
There's along the old Route 28 there.
The ditch?
Yep, the ditch. It
Okay.
runs all the way down to a culvert that crosses 28 at the bottom of the old 28 there. And And so that's taking that existing stormwater the same route.
So are you confident that there's not an issue with the amount of water that's going to be discharged there in the flow?
Yeah, our stormwater engineer, Dave Ryder, we went through this and kind of walked all the way down and took a look at where everything went. And he's very confident with the parameters that he had to work within that site and that confine and location with regard to the watershed, that the treatment that we were proposing would manage the water appropriately. So in other words, the surface water that we're treating in the rain gardens and the below surface treatment facility under the parking lot take the required amount of water in that regard, and then the little bit that goes out through, say, the plunge pool and directed into that swale meets the limits.
Has this been submitted to DEP for review?
I think he's submitting an NOI shortly.
Okay,
We don't have a copy of the SWIP then yet, right? We're still waiting on that.
No, we've submitted the entire,
Yeah,
I
you
think,
got it.
40-page.
Oh, geez. I don't know
Report.
where I put that. I'm sorry.
Okay,
The SWIP was a while ago.
yeah.
Yeah, I must have missed it somehow. I'll look through my
Yep.
emails. Thank you.
I think it was like,
Okay. Sounds like that's kind of run its course in terms of the discussion. The other thing I had was major, and then on Dave Sorbellini's behalf, I'm going to state that I was not able to find a north point yet on this version of the site plan.
If you go to the bottom left of the site plan,
Is that it?
that's it.
Okay,
Yep, the little dark arrow is pointing north. The dark line in the circle is pointing north.
I
so
thought
9 o'clock.
that might have been the case, but I guess again, we're not familiar with that method of
Yeah.
doing it, so.
that's not how Bruce Lamonda would have done it.
Yeah, I mean, a plunge pool is a hot bowl of soup that you stick your baguette in. That's the first thing, and whatever this thing is.
I was thinking it was for use on hot days, but
Anyone else?
You know, I did notice there's the coop that I didn't notice on the previous version, but there's the coop there. Is there already a chicken coop there?
Yes,
There is, okay.
yeah. If you go up and sit at any one of the picnic tables, they are quick to befriend you.
Gotcha.
So we've already referred this to the county, just for those in attendance, and they had complimentary feedback. We're not waiting anything from any other entities, are we, right? Because they're not creating any new septics or any wastewater treatment or anything like that, right? Other than just
No,
runoff?
because- Yeah, no, this is on the sewer, so,
Yeah, that's right.
yep,
Forgot.
yep.
but I mean, we could approve this subject to, DEP approval of the stormwater.
I would be supportive of that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else we haven't covered. And this came to us so complete to begin with, or nearly complete, that I think the applicant's done an excellent job.
Great. Thank you.
Well, then I would make a motion that why don't we move to go through the seeker, the checklist, and then ultimately the resolution with the condition that it's approved pending DEP approval, and then we could let Ms. Leader and her team move forward.
And we close the public hearing.
We typically do that just before the resolution, but yeah, certainly could. Okay. So why don't we move on to the checklist? I have one here. Helene, do you have one that you can share where you are? I'll begin if you have one just for reference. So we definitely had 14 days notice for the public hearing. We had the envelopes, the addresses of adjacent landowners. The location of that portion, which is suggested. Okay, so we have the entire map up. We just pulled, I guess, the map up, Helene, just so as we go through this. So we have adjacent landowners shown, do we? Just to make sure.
This is more a site plan application as opposed to the.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Thank you. Yeah. Do we have signature plot? Yeah. Okay. That's the upper left, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The block. So we have a tax map sheet, block and lot numbers. Utilities, Route 28 is there. Old Route 28 is there. We had a North Point. We just discussed that. Is the sewage actually shown on here where it hooks up to the sewer?
If you look at the pan down to the south of the building, you'll see the south and east is the sewer manhole in the rear of the building.
I think you have to go
Or-
up, Helene.
Up, yep, up a little.
Okay.
Keep going a little further. And you'll see the SMH's sewer manhole. Right below where it says protect existing trees typical. Yep, below, right there. Yep,
Yep.
and then light gray. They're the,
Chris, is there
There's-
any, pardon me, is there any identification number that accompanies the SWIP that I could reference in this checklist?
any identification number
Okay.
for the SWIP.
Yes. Is there something? I was just gonna, in the checklist, I thought in terms of sewerage, water supply, runoff, I was just gonna reference this. I'm gonna reference that there's a SWIP was provided, and if there was any type of a number, I would just capture it, that's all.
Let me see if I can
Okay.
find that.
So in terms of a checklist, unless someone on the board notes something differently, I think we have everything we need. I see the licensed surveyor. It's not signed yet. We had the North Point. We talked about the address. So in terms of the checklist, I think everything is appropriate. Again, I was just going to note or denote the SWIP and if there's any type of an identifier.
I think the only thing we really have is that it's the stormwater pollution prevention plan dated January 30th, 2021, as prepared by David Ryder, PE, PLLC.
Is it RYDER?
I'm sorry, RIDER.
Thank you. Okay, I've noted that.
Okay.
All right, so Janelle, I'll make sure you get that checklist.
Thank you.
So Steve and board, do we need to go through a seeker then, or what are we thinking for this? Because I know on a site plan, I don't think that we've required it, right?
Normally on the site plan. Did they submit one though?
We do have one
Uh,
dated 11/18/2020.
Yep,
For short.
and there's an EAF, right? It was signed on 11/18.
Yes.
All right, so why don't we go through part 2 then? Will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? I'm saying no.
No,
No.
Okay, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land?
No, it's the same use.
Same
Oh,
use.
yeah.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area, a CEA?
No.
Nope. And will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No,
Certainly hope we get more customers, which could mean more traffic, but I don't think in a disruptive way.
I,
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? And I will take this opportunity to actually applaud Ms. Leader and her firm for, kind of best practices, echoing what the Ulster County Planning Board said, the use of solar and smart use of space. So to be applauded there. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies or public-private wastewater treatment utilities? Probably some immaterial increased demand, but I don't think anything that rises to the level of a neg deck. So I'm going to say no as well. Anyone disagree? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? I'll say no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? Also no. And will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? And again, that's why I'm referencing the SWIP prepared by David Ryder, PwC. So thank you for that, Mr. Chris. And will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? Only if you eat too much bread. So with that, I would say, oh, is there a comment?
I was just gonna say that may be a major issue for me, so.
Yeah, guilty. So with that, there's on the short form, environmental assessment form, impact assessment, I will say it's a neg deck for SP 7-20 with no comments, and we would check that box and forward it along. Okay, so the resolution. So I'll first make a motion that we close the public hearing for SP 7-20 Bread Alone. Can I get a second for closing the public hearing?
Second.
Thank you very much. And we will go through the resolution.
Okay.
So, at a public hearing on March 2nd, 2021, the following motion was made by Dave Sorbellini and seconded by someone else.
Helene.
And I move that the planning board approve site plan SP 7-20, also known as Bread Alone.
Need that seconded?
No, Helene already seconded.
Okay.
So all in favor?
I
Aye.
think,
Aye. Any
We're gonna-
opposed?
are we gonna make it contingent upon completion of the SWIP?
Thank you very much. I was going to just mention that, so thank you very much. Yes, we are. So I make a motion that we move with the condition that SP 7-20 receive approval from the DEP. So again, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
And
The
Janelle, why don't we?
DEC or DEP? I think it's
I-
DEC.
I think it's DEC. DEP
Yeah.
declared, says
Oh,
it wasn't, they
DEC.
weren't involved.
All right, so why don't we do a
Yeah.
roll call? Why don't we do a roll call, Janelle?
Okay,
Thank you. And I'll make this comment.
Dave Sorbellini,
Yes?
Steve Dibble,
Aye,
Helene Grant,
Yes.
Ed Cahill,
Yes.
Heidi Emmerich,
Yes,
Nick Berger,
Yes.
Tim Peck.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much. And that was seconded by Helene, correct?
Yes.
correct.
And I've made the comment, approval conditional upon DEC approval.
No, I think it's supposed to DEP.
Is
what-
DEP?
I believe so.
Environmental protection.
Is that correct? Okay. Well,
We're
I'm-
trying to determine who will review the SWIP, right?
Right,
Correct.
that's DEC.
Yeah, it's DEC.
I will, Mr.
Confidence.
Smaler, we're gonna hold you to it. I'm just moonlighting here.
Because I'm just Googling it now,
There you go.
All right. Well,
DEC.
DEC.
I've noted DEC, and Janelle, certainly you can edit these documents if that needs to be edited.
Chris is usually right.
Well, I mean, just to clarify, it, DEP could very well have been involved. We did have them do a review of the project, and they looked at the impact and implication and said it did not need to receive their review or approval. So, so then it just falls under the auspices of DEC.
Very good.
Very thorough.
Well, Janelle, I've just sent you those documents. Steve, I copied you in.
Yep.
Everyone else, I'm giving your email box a break. Okay, so with that, Ms. Leader, Mr. Smaler, thank you very much for your professional documents and
Excellent.
making this process smoothly, and good luck.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks so much to the board. We're really so happy that we're in Olive and have been able to work with you guys through this. And with that, we always say break bread, make peace. So I will say that to you guys all. And I look forward to breaking bread with you when we can meet together face to face.
Thank you.
Ditto. Thank
At
you
the
very
new-
much.
At the new facility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Whew.
Hopefully soon.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, that's not bad.
Hopefully soon.
We did a public hearing and all that good stuff, and even the pledge of allegiance in
It's
32
only
minutes.
7:30.
Okay,
Don't jinx it.
so I was,
Yeah.
I have to go, I guess I really do have to defer to Steve and or someone else on the board on Maurice Lane, SP 420 and SP 820, I'm sorry, and 19 sub 5, because I missed some of these early meetings and I'd be playing catch up here a bit.
Yeah, I think the net of it is that the courts required a site plan, given the situation there. And so essentially it's a site plan and a subdivision, I believe, splitting it into two parcels so that the second house is in fact on its own parcel. And I look forward to hearing what the plan is here
Thank you,
moving
Steve.
forward. So is somebody here representing Lanes?
Karen is.
Okay.
Karen, you have to unmute. I don't think Karen, there
I
you
got ya. I got ya. Couldn't find the right button.
And Ed, I'm just gonna put you on mute just because there's some background noise. No disrespect.
Karen, maybe you could just take a minute and walk everybody through. We do have a new 1 or 2 board members, I think 1 anyway, since you were last in, and just make sure we're all up to speed.
Well, we're attempting to subdivide the piece of property for the other house in the subdivision. The site plan has been a bit of a confusion because my original thought was that the site plan was supposed to be done for the sawmill, which really hasn't been in business for over 20 years. And then it was brought up that it was because my husband has a construction business. So I did the site plan, hopefully to cover the construction business.
I think one of the concerns was the parking for the vehicles. Was that
That
expressed?
is not the map. That's not the subdivision map. That's that was the septic system.
Yeah, that's old.
Yeah.
That's-
I'm sorry, I just took back what I had.
Yeah, that's back from when they got septic approval in 2016, I think it said.
Is this it?
That's the map for the,
The sketch for the,
site plan.
yeah.
That was an early one.
I don't know then.
Did you send
Amended
it? to
site
that? I know we
plan?
got hard copy.
I sent them.
Okay.
I sent it. Is
I
it-
didn't look for soft
amended
copy because I
site
had hard.
Is it the amended site plan?
Probably. No, not the, if you're talking about the subdivision, there's a map for the subdivision.
Yeah.
Gonna find it to send it to you, Helene.
Probably, if
I try to pull everything that I had together.
it's not the February 10th, 2021 thing there underneath what you just, the site plan thing.
I
That was the site plan. Don Brewer sent me the PDF of the subdivision map, which I also forwarded. Go underneath where it says subdivision application. What's it with part of that? Is that just the application itself?
I think so.
Yeah.
Helene, I just emailed the map to you.
Okay. Let me just see it. Oh, is this it?
No, that was like, that's the septic.
That's the one I
plan.
had already. That's the one I voted
Yeah.
on. Okay, all right. Hang on a second. Whoop. Give me a second. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. You're doing a fabulous job.
So Steve, I guess just to, trying to catch my simple brain up.
Here we go.
So we need to have the subdivision first and then the site plan subsequent.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from my standpoint, it's gonna be whatever works best for us. If we don't do the subdivision first, then the site plan only spans one property.
No,
If
no,
we do the-
no. If you do the subdivision first, then the site plan's gonna be way off because all the measurements I did for the site plan did not all included the whole piece of property, not the subdivision.
Yeah, that's, I think,
I mean, I included the subdivision, the subdivided part in the measurements for the site plan.
okay. So are you expecting to do the site plan first or the subdivision?
I just want both of them taken care of because this has just been taking like too long.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I think when I did the site, when I was doing the site plan, I assumed since the subdivision hadn't been approved and it hadn't been done, that I should just include the measurement, when I did the measurements to include that piece with it too, just because. But
Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't be approved concurrently if everything
Yeah.
is, together. Can we just have, I've only been on this item for one meeting also. Can we have a little executive summary of what brought us to this point? I know we got a bunch of documents that were a lot to look through. I'm just not sure what our final aim is in trying to put all this together.
It's being driven by the courts. And I guess the one point was that this second house, I guess, was built maybe arguably, but without, full permits and everything. So the town of Olive, I believe, brought a lawsuit, took the lanes to court, and the courts ruled that the lanes we need to ensure the building is up to par through engineers' inspections and reports. And I'm not sure, I don't think the court edicted that it be subdivided, the second house subdivided off, but.
They did.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yes.
So
that was because we agree. I mean, we obviously agreed to all of it, but we were
yeah,
planning on doing the subdivision anyway, but that was,
Anyway.
yes, that was right.
okay. So the court basically stipulated at this point then that the property be divided into the two parcels and that a site plan be developed, presented, approved as part of the settlement with the town of Olive.
Thanks, Steve.
So,
right.
and at one point prior, I guess there was essentially an operating sawmill on the property. It sounds like,
The sawmill is still here, but it's not,
Right.
it hasn't been used as a commercial business for years. It's just done as we use
Right.
it for personal stuff is all.
right, and was there there was another building, I guess, that has.
There
been
was a
taken
building.
down?
Yeah, there was another building that was taken down. And so it's not showing on this map. It would have been shown on one of the earlier maps, probably that survey maps that you got, but that's been taken off because it was taken down.
Right.
And quickly, just so I know that I'm understanding this, and I believe we discussed this the one time you were in front of us before, the septic systems for lot 2 are on other lands of Maurice Lane Jr. and Patricia Kelder. And
That
is-
property is no longer owned by Maurice Lane and Patricia Kelder, but there's an easement in the deed for that
Okay,
septic, which you have.
okay. We have that, all right.
Now, is there still, I'll say, commercial truck parking on the property from the other?
Yeah,
business?
my husband's trucks, yes.
Okay. Is that one truck, 3 trucks,
4.
4 trucks? Okay, okay.
I think I
think
on
the
the,
site plan had a description of the
I
equipment.
get, yeah, on the, yeah, with the site plan, I gave a description of what we had.
Okay. Usually, I
think
guess
there's 5 trucks.
what I'm not seeing is, I'll say usually there's a diagram that accompanies the site plan. that
With the
addresses-
site plan, yep, I gave you, I just took a copy of
Yeah.
the part where the garage and the house and stuff, the other house is.
Right,
It's in-
but there's
it's
no parking indicated or anything.
But we don't have we don't have parking here. I mean, not for anybody but ourselves.
Right. Yeah, this, this, I'll say it's a little bit difficult because it's pretty much, I'll say residential use with some equipment
Right.
parked there, which
Right.
I'll have to say there's quite a few of those situations throughout the town, and typically we would not do site plans for it. But in this case, the court has essentially mandated that there be a site plan. And that implies that we need to review, approve a site plan. So I guess the question from my standpoint, from the board standpoint, is how rigorous are we gonna be in this? And what do we want to see on the site plan?
I mean, if you go to the site plan application, her description gave the number of vehicles that they have and as to where they're parked when not in use.
Okay,
You know,
So-
Steve, I'm thinking to your question, I mean, if we state that it's not for public access, right? I'm almost thinking like the museum scenario, right, that we just had. I mean, I think that's a way of us
Yeah, you have-
accommodating the residential use, if you will.
Yeah.
yep.
Pardon me for cutting you off, by the way.
Oh, no problem. So I guess I don't quite follow in terms of then what do we believe we need for a site plan? Or is this sufficient? Or,
Yeah, I'm thinking aloud, and certainly don't know if it's the right answer, but maybe we're just looking for the elements of what we would normally look for in terms of just the checklist. I don't know that we need to be,
yep,
I'm thinking, setbacks, utilities, those types of things, but in terms of square footage and how that equates to number of parking spots, lighting, signage. I mean, if I'm hearing correctly, I just want to make sure I am. This is residential, right? Even the sawmill, it's residential. There's no public access. There's no commercial hours of operation. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
I would personally feel comfortable putting that in the notes that this approval was provided based upon the conditions are that this is a residential use, no commercial, and proceed that with that path.
Yep.
Anybody else? Nick, Tim, Heidi? I don't really care what Ed thinks.
I
Fine.
think that's fine as far as the site plan goes. My only little nitpicky thing is if and when we move to look to approving the subdivision, I just really want to see that easement Library page reference for that septic. I just read the deed, but it needs to be, the Library page needs to be on there if this map's going to be filed with the county.
So what needs to be on there?
The Library page, the deed reference for the easement for that.
I thought I
sep- that
gave
upper
that to
sep-
you. I gave
You
you a copy of the,
provided it- Yep, and I just read through it. I
Oh,
just read
okay.
through the easement. You provided it, but on a map that's gonna be filed with the county, that
It-
really needs to be included on the file, because that's
It's-
gonna be in
On the map, Heidi.
perpetuity.
It,
Alright.
yeah, it should be noted on the map itself.
It's on the upper
oh,
right.
okay. Oh,
Fourth
that there's an easement for
Oh,
those.
it-
It should be a,
Nick,
Septic
are you
one,
saying it's
deed
there?
reference. Septic area, yep.
Oh, under deed reference up at the top. I'm sorry, I'm not used to
Yeah.
seeing it
Don
like
just
that.
says it
Okay, you're right.
differently.
Yeah, no, I had a couple of comments on subdivision once we move on to that, so, but
All right, so we're saying in terms of the site plan SP 4-20, I think we, unless anyone challenged what I've already shared, we would feel comfortable using this, going through a checklist after a public hearing, of course, and under the guise that this is strictly residential. Do we feel comfortable, board?
Yes.
Anyone not feel, I'm not taking a vote, but anyone not feel comfortable moving in that direction? Okay,
I think that's reasonable.
thank you, Steve. All right, so then why don't we move to the subdivision since, and Nick, we'll let you lead with your questions.
oh, well, going back to the septic area, it seems like Don left out a bearing for the septic line on the northern part, most northern line of the septic area. You know, it should be fully, he has all the other bearings for it except for end distances, but where it says septic easement line up on the top, more towards the house. Yep.
Educate me, Nick, what do you, so I see that easement line, you're saying there should be another one for the reserve?
No, I'm saying there should be a bearing distance calling it, you know, he describes every other course pretty
The
much.
degrees and length.
Yep.
Oh, I got you. Thank you.
And then I believe he's going to be getting a utility easement down towards the entrance for the power line coming in.
Yeah, I think we had that discussion that there needed.
Yeah.
to be-
I mean, he
He's over
shows
here.
it on there, but there's no tie going, you know, where it is or anything. You know, it just kind of shows it on the map. There's no through tie to get you there. You know what I mean?
You following him, Helene?
No, I'm looking.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, I just don't physically,
It's right at the entrance where they come in from 28.
yeah,
Where it crosses the driveway, you mean?
okay.
Yep.
The red line, Helene, up a little.
Here?
Yeah,
Okay.
It goes over the driveway.
Oh, utility poles. If you're talking about the utility poles.
But he has the utility easement distance right there, but there's no ties on, you know, there should be I strongly think that there should be a tie, you know, going to that utility easement so you can recreate where the easement is later on. Right now, it's just kind of out there.
What do you want? What are you on scene, Nick?
Like a
A
reference
tie-
distance. he
Yeah,
means.
Oh,
tie
they did.
distance going to it, and then a
Oh.
bearing probably of what direction that utility is going in.
Okay.
So essentially, if the line wasn't there with those other data points, you could recreate the line, right, Nick? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, and would we also want that easement referenced like in the deed reference as is the septic?
I think he's creating those easements.
Right.
So,
done that yet.
so Nick, because it's very hard for me to explain something back to Mrs. Lane for her to then pass it on to Mr. Brewer. Could you just drop me a quick email at some point, not tonight or anything, just exactly in surveyor talk, tell me what it is that you want to see on the map so that Mr. Brewer understands what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'll just mark up the map and I'll send you a picture of it pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah, but-
Awesome.
I'd just like to go back to the, I'll say the status. This utility line, I presume, is already in place, right?
Yeah,
Underground.
it's all
then-
there.
Then goes, does it go?
Goes, yeah, it goes
Yeah.
underground.
It's under the driveway to that first pole,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
it goes under the driveway from the pole, it goes, yeah.
So this already exists, but there is no easement today.
No, because we still own all that property.
Right, okay. So when the house here gets subdivided off, there would be an easement included in that.
Right,
Right.
right.
So to Nick's point, you need the coordinates, if you will, or bearings that I'm learning. So so somebody could find it, right? Okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
Yep.
you need to recreate it pretty much, you know, you need to be able to recreate it.
yep.
So Miss Lane, are you following that? And pardon me if I'm being too simple.
Not really, but yeah.
Okay.
Janelle's gonna send me something.
The same as with that septic line, we need the degrees and
Right,
the full specs on it.
And
Okay.
that's pretty much, and what I said before about the utility easement, it goes along with the easement that you made for the road too. There's no tie distance getting to the
Yep.
easement. That as well.
Is he
Come on,
not?
Mr. Brewer. We've waited too long. This thing's been going
He
on since
doesn't-
April.
And this has only been about the 5th time we've had to deal with him regarding this too.
Yeah,
so.
I just pulled up some
No,
records. April 23rd, 2020.
Just to clarify, over right-hand side, you'll see line bearing and distance for L7, L8
for the driveway, right?
for the driveway. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I believe that's okay as is.
Helene,
Yeah.
Helene, can you please zoom out? Just so, do we have adjacent, I mean, it's kind of basic things. Do we have adjacent landowners?
Yeah.
All that good stuff?
Yes.
North Point, we were just talking about utilities. I saw primary and secondary. Do we have well?
There's the well on lot 2 is marked. The well on, there is no well on lot 1. It's a spring and that's marked up in the top corner.
Okay,
Thank you. Are there any small water streams or anything up there? I don't know. Bodies of water?
No,
Is this pretty flat? Is there, is there need to show topography here?
I think we discussed that the last time and the last time regarding the septic, and I thought you decided that it wasn't necessary.
It's all existing. So it's
Yeah,
not like they're proposing anything at this point.
Okay.
it's not gonna change the impact in any way, so. Yep,
So if we move forward on the site plan as we discussed under the strict guidelines that it's residential only, and then on the subdivision, Ms. Lane, we provide you with feedback based on the collective experience of the board and their edit eyes. Mr. Brewer can update the map. Board, do we then feel that this potentially we can have a public hearing on Tuesday, April 20th?
We would have a public hearing for both the site plan and the subdivision the same night?
I would think so.
Yes.
Would
I
it be,
think what-
I'm sorry.
My only other question is, does this have to go to the county planning board because it's on 28?
Well, I mean, it's all existing. There's no changes from the standpoint of,
I think,
Traffic
didn't they
and-
get the driveway approval from the state for the, what they have
Years ago.
there?
Yeah, years and years ago when he put I mean, however many years ago it is now. The
We-
driveway, all that was approved years ago. That driveway was existing. It's not like we're putting a new driveway in.
Do you happen to have that, any type of a
Oh,
document?
for God's sake, no, you're talking, no.
Dave,
You're
I
talking
think
probably
That's gotta be.
in the 1980s.
it was
Yeah,
in the packet we got,
some years ago.
actually. I think it was in the packet that I received. They
Oh, was
had
it?
a copy of it. Yeah, I think they dug it up.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
He
Right.
said, Karen.
See, Miss Lane, don't short sell yourself.
Well, I don't know that I gave it to you.
1987, this one?
It might have been because we did some digging on the old,
I was gonna say, you must have come up with that, not me.
I
Yeah,
was.
I got
I
a
know I
binder
did.
full of paperwork, so.
Okay.
So I guess we can go through the county rules for referrals and see if this is required or not, but I can't imagine that they're gonna have a lot of interest in it, so,
I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I think we have discretion here.
yeah.
I wouldn't bother.
All right. But is that correct? That's the timeline we're looking at, right? Because we have the 16th meeting of March reserved, and then our next session would be, I'm sorry, April 6th. It wouldn't be the 20th, April 6th.
Yeah, no, that's true.
because the 20th would probably be Sailor Mill.
Potentially.
Correct.
So, I mean, I would say it's a bit of a leap of faith, Miss Lane, but I know it's been a long time. But if Mr. Brewer can follow act on the guidance that we provide.
I might need to go buy a new lighter for under his behind to get it done, but I'll see what I can do.
Whatever it takes.
I know.
And then, you could collaborate with Janelle on, you would probably hear early on how a public hearing goes and see who
So-
shows up. Be prepared to answer some questions, and we'll let the map speak for itself.
Question, Janelle, you'll send me an email of what it is that they want on the map?
Yeah, when Nick,
When you-
when he sends that to me, which it will describe what it is, the additional items for the map, I'll get that right to you, and I'll even copy Mr. Brewer on it so that it goes right to him.
So
I don't
Janelle,
mean-
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I don't mean to be nitpicky, but if he's going in there, it'd be really great to have a location map. Usually we like to see that,
Yeah.
showing all the different tax parcels, sort of a zoomed out view, so we know where this is in relation to other things in the area. Just a little map in the corner. If he's going in there, pop it in.
great suggestion, Heidi. Nick, could you kindly just note that in your email, please?
Yep.
So we'll give you the recipe, Miss Lane. If Don Brewer can bake the cake to the specs. We'll have a public hearing. I would suggest 1910 on April 6th. We'll make you the first agenda item, unless, would there be anything else, Janelle, we need to consider?
Nope,
Can I just ask, is John Ingram still there?
he is.
Could I ask him a question?
You're on
John,
mute.
unmute yourself, John.
While he's doing that, I found the highway permit, May of 1986 from
I knew it
DOT.
was in the 80s.
There you go.
Right,
Yeah.
Tell
John?
us for a green belt.
That was several years before me, several.
Karen
Okay.
John's on.
Oh, John,
Yeah,
I forgot to ask, what I was gonna talk to you about it the last time that I saw you, but about the stop work order. Can we get that lifted so we can clean up those trees that he cut down?
okay, let me look into that tomorrow in the office. We'll see what
Okay,
we
because
find.
I don't know, I'm not sure who told you we were putting a road in, but we weren't. We were just cutting down dead ash trees. That's it.
Well, there's a few of them around.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and that was all we were doing. I'm not sure who told you we were putting a road up to up to Upper Boyceville, but we were not.
Okay,
So-
we'll check. I'll be in the office in the morning. We'll look into it.
Okay,
Right.
thanks a lot, John.
All right, so Miss Lane, thank you for your patience, and we appreciate your feedback. And if you can connect with Janelle, she will provide you with guidance. And we'll look to see you on Tuesday, April 6th at 1900 for a public hearing at 7:10.
Oh, good, thank you.
Okay. Okay,
All right.
why don't we move on to, I have to remember how to mention this gentleman's last name. Was it LaFleck?
LaFleche.
Ah, darn it.
That's okay. You'll have another shot.
All right, this is all about glamping, right? And 73 McMillan Road in West Shokan.
Correct.
Now, I just tapped a few maple trees there this weekend on Mr. Liefeld's land, and I have to share with you, out of respect for Mr. Liefeld, who was our supervisor for 25 years or so, he's not all that happy about this, so let's make him smile.
Okay. Well, the proposal is overall very similar to the first version from the last meeting. The main difference is that we are only going to, the proposal is to only construct the 2 platforms for the canvas tents and the outhouse, and not to have the 2 primitive campsites. But, oh, and the second tent platform has been moved to essentially be where one of the primitive campsites would have been. So both of the platforms are now a good deal further from the property line. The outhouse has not changed position. The parking and the garbage would be in the same spot close to the road. And that's basically it.
So I had a couple questions. I see this, I'll say lot 30. I assume that's a residence on that. There's a house there?
That's an old schoolhouse, yeah.
Okay, is there something that's, I'll say, driving you to have the parking? I mean, those are like 1 acre lots, so relatively small. And I'll say as a neighbor, I don't know if I'd be too happy about having people coming and going right next to me. Is there a reason that you've chosen to, whether it's terrain or whatever, to put the, I know that's existing. I guess I'll say, if I recall correctly, that was existing, but is there some reason that couldn't be moved so that they're not parking right next to this other person's property? I'm just envisioning campers, and they're going to want to go out to dinner, and they're going to come and go and door slamming and.
Sure, and that was actually a concern that the property owner had, and she and I spoke a couple of weeks ago by Zoom about that and some other questions that she had. Well, that's really the best existing spot that wouldn't require us to cut down any trees or, find a spot that is equally sturdy. That spot stays very dry, and it's already open enough to accommodate the parking. So it's a matter of convenience, I guess, and keeping the impact on our property as minimal as possible. Thinking out loud, there's nothing, basically choosing a different location would just require more site work.
Okay. And where is the schoolhouse that's located on that property? Is it centered, kind of centered in the property, or? What's that,
Yeah.
John?
Toward the front of the property, almost not far back from Broadhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I should just drive up and I mean, I obviously been up and down that road, but I'm not able to picture it.
And from the discussion with the property owner, the idea is that we would plant some kind of, evergreen hedge on the east side of the access road, basically along the property line, to screen that area from the schoolhouse and just to, keep noise down and keep visibility down. And they seem satisfied with that solution. We obviously don't have the exact shrub picked out yet, but
No, yeah.
So was that gray line to the right of the blue, is that a driveway that you're gonna be putting in or a trail?
it's an existing access road that, as far as we understand, was once the road, and then later was used as a driveway. So it has gravel laid on it already. As you get further up towards the house, it has mostly been grown over with grass at this point. So it used to, at some point, connect to what we now use as the driveway up next to the house and the barn. And at this point, that gap is all yard, but it was used as a road. And our understanding is that the previous owners used it occasionally. The mailbox that they had was on Broadhead and not on McMillan. It's not entirely clear, but.
Is there a gate there now? I'm looking on my own screen on a street view. Is there a gate?
There's an old gate that has half
Okay.
fallen down that needs to be replaced, that we would be replacing as part of this.
Is anybody like a site visit on this one?
Yep.
I feel like it'd be really helpful to see what the, impact of what's going on here is or isn't, to see firsthand.
That outhouse, you said is gonna be pumped correct?
I'm sorry?
The outhouse is, it collects it and then you pump it out, right? So
Right. Yeah, it would just be a holding tank.
which way would the pump truck come from? I mean, can that road sustain a heavy truck like that?
I think this is a question that I've been meaning to answer for myself. I think the best way is for them to come in through the driveway and run a hose down to the tank from that point. I've driven a car all the way up the access road and a tractor, but I have not driven a heavy septic truck. So
Yeah, but it does bring up a discussion, right? So whether it's a septic truck or a fire truck or an ambulance, I mean, if something happens there, right? I'm almost thinking not only a site visit board, but I mean, do we ask, Chris Winnie, our fire chief to come? I mean, it's a valid concern, right? We're gonna have people, transient people, right? This is almost like an Airbnb type scenario, right? And people who potentially don't know the area, right? Potentially don't know how to camp, if you will. They're glamping and anything could happen, and how do we make sure that, ensure the safety and welfare? So yeah, I think a site visit with some of our subject matter experts to get their opinion, and maybe Brian Burns on the driveway.
Yeah. A question too, are your guests going to be able to drive essentially up to the platform to unload and load their stuff and then drive back and park, or they're gonna have to park, they're gonna have to hoof it from the parking area?
our intention is that they will have to hoof it and that
Okay.
no one will be driving up that road.
Okay.
Now, what about board, the DEP? I mean, given that this is on watershed land and we're gonna have an outhouse,
Well, the last time he was here, we asked him to research that, and he was gonna come back with information whether they had input on if the outhouse was legal or not. How'd you make out with that, Colin?
Well, so I got in touch with the county again. So before the initial meeting that I was on in January, I had spoken with the DEP and they had said, talk to the county. And I got back in touch with the County Board of Health a couple of weeks ago. Their question was, did the planning board approve this? And I said, no, they seem to want something in writing from the county. And they said, oh, okay. So they have not given me a definitive answer on the who or the what. But I'm in touch with their engineers and just waiting on more information. From the conversations, they have not given anything categorical in terms of a holding tank being disallowed or anything like that, or what might be required for us to put it in. it's all kind of unanswered at this point, and I'm trying to get more information from them.
Another thought regarding safety just crossed my mind, regarding lighting, so that your guests might be safe going back and forth to their vehicles, assuming they're not driving down the access road. And then also that the lighting isn't so obtrusive that it might bother the neighbors. Have you thought about how you're going to light that road end? Any areas by the tents or no lighting? What is your thought? And then maybe we can discuss that.
Our thought is to put a couple of like low solar path lighting around the tents themselves, but not to put any along the road. It has very tall pine trees on either side, and so it's just a little too shaded for those to really work. And we don't want to run electric down there, and we definitely don't want to have lights that are on all the time. So what our intention is basically to tell guests that they need to bring a headlamp or a flashlight as they would with any normal camping experience.
And Mr. LaFleche, we had talked about this being a seasonal type operation, right? I'm just remembering May to October, let's just say, right?
Right. Maybe late April, but yes.
Yeah. And is this a month? Is it guests every day? Is it just weekends?
Well, I mean, right now, I think we would leave a gap of, I think it's 72 hours, which is legally required because of COVID. But in the future, I would imagine that we would, I guess I would say, we would not necessarily want to restrict it to weekends only, but we also have no interest in constantly having to, be cleaning these and dealing with them on a daily basis necessarily. So part of this is kind of playing it by ear. But I think for the purposes of the proposal, we don't have any definitive plans to restrict, when people can rent them outside of the season.
You can see you big.
All right, thank you. So I'm just I don't have my notebook in front of me, but I do recall, so you've gone from 4 to 2, and then we just talked about kind of like the question I just asked you. So do you have a narrative? So, when we move to a public hearing at some point, right? So I'm just doing some quick math here. There's got to be, 10 neighbors just to my right. And then neighbors down McMillan. So they're eventually going to be asking questions, right? So do you have hours of operation? I guess, has that been tightened up? So, what are the characteristics, operating hours, music? I mean, what are going to be the rules, if you will?
We had expanded the narrative proposal. And in that, we've included a fairly thorough list of rules and all of those other things for campers. The operating hours would be, or the quiet hours would be 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
And I apologize. Have we seen that, Janelle? Do we have all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to look at it. I'm sorry. Okay.
It was, I have here, his note says revised January 16, 2021. So it was probably sent right around that time.
All right, I'll take a look at it. Thank you.
I see that in that document, you say that you're going to restrict them to a certain area of your property. You don't have any plans of having hiking trails through your property or anything like that?
No.
Right.
No, we don't want people wandering the property.
How are you going to convey that to them? Just in a little info sheet when they come, or have little
That
signs,
and to put up actual signs, yeah, kind of. I mean, and as unobtrusively as possible, but putting them around the camping area.
Okay.
The proposed one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. Thank you. I found it in my email. I mean, I guess, Mr. LaFleche, what I'm getting, again, trying to get ahead of the, as an advocate for yourself as well as the public, the surrounding community especially, And we're certainly going through a similar project, certainly of greater scale, but I think there are similarities here in terms of disturbance, right? So is this in character with the neighborhood, right? Yes, it's a wide open space, but now we're going to have, for all intents and purposes, an Airbnb, type model in a residential neighborhood where, as you just described, could be people coming and going in a post-COVID world 7 days a week, with now a truck coming to pump out waste, with garbage maybe coming more frequently to pick up, with more noise, and it's an area where probably people keep their doors unlocked like I do. And now if I have transient people coming in and out, I'm going to rethink that. And I've got 2 young girls, and so to me, this is a pretty big disturbance through my lens anyway. Maybe I have more sensitivities than others, but I think we're going to hear a lot of that from the public, as I just mentioned, in full transparency, of Mr. Liefeld, who you can see on this map is to your, I think, southwest. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. So that's, I think, board, I think we do need to make a site visit. I do think we need to have our subject matter experts from fire. And I don't know if we know somebody from the ambulance, since they are now a paid squad, a funded squad. And I think we need our superintendent of highway. And when Ed, if it's the DEP, I'm not an expert in that space at all, but I'd really like to have a real good look at this. Because it's not just camping, right? It's for all intents and purposes, it's a business, right? With people coming and going.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I'll add to that just to say that I guess one of my concerns is the impact to the neighbors of all that coming and going, with it being relatively small lots. And I mean, you've got a good piece of property. It just so happens that, I'll say somewhat unfortunately, that it sounds like from your view, the best place to put this is butting right up against the neighbors, right? So.
yeah, I would say that we are sensitive to that, and we don't, like we said in the proposal, in the new narrative, our goal really is to be minimally impactful. We don't want to make the neighborhood feel like suddenly there's tons of traffic coming to this spot. Truthfully, I think that the impact will be very minimal, and that the frequency of a truck coming or garbage being emptied, stuff like that, is not going to be that much more than we already have for ourselves. But I hear the concern, and we're very sensitive to it. So we've already been in touch with a couple of neighbors and have tried to be, as open to this as we can be. And I definitely think a site visit will give a better idea of the level of privacy that these platforms have. They're not going to be visible from the other properties. Certainly noise travels, but we're trying to find a way to really make it as unobtrusive as we can. And we're also trying to find a way to do something that is not going to be a permanent change to the property for our sake. We'd like to have this be really simple so that down the line, when the farm is really self-sustaining, we don't need to supplement income in this way. So, this is really not, a first step in us turning into, people that are running a hotel or something like that.
So just I'll say question for my fellow board members. Are we looking at this like an accessory use, or?
I had the same question, or this is a commercial recreational use? I just took out the zoning code. I had the same question.
Yeah, that's why I made my comment right around the Airbnb and commercial. So, and Mr. LaFleche, to your point, my concern isn't so much scale. Certainly it would be if there, you were proposing many sites. I'm going to use a funny term here, but stranger danger, right? I'm more concerned about, and we've had public hearings, years ago, within the last 10, where Airbnb, people are renting out homes and doing things within a typical residential home that was significantly different than what, was accustomed, right? So we had people coming to us, board, some of you may remember, where there were movies being shot in an Airbnb next to a woman with children, right? And it was just very, and John, you probably remember, we put a stop to that. So to me, I'm very curious to understand the vetting process. And Heidi, to your question, we have to look really hard at what this is classified as, because it's not just camping, right? I'm going to say it again, stranger danger, right? If it's me and I've got land behind me and someone starts doing this, and I travel for work, and all of a sudden there could potentially be strangers behind my house, and what's the vetting, and is there a bond out there, and is there any type of security? Because it is, I'm pretty hard on this, but this is different. This is strangers traveling to a neighborhood with no real ownership, right? They're going to be in and out, and whatever collateral damage they created, oh well, leave it for the next one, right? And I'm very empathetic across lots 22 to 30, and then the other ones, and then the ones I already mentioned. So I want to take a real close look at this, because is it an accessory use? I'm more apt to say this is a commercial operation, and no, it's not huge in terms of scale, but the sensitivities and the potential disruption are material. And you have folks here that live in the woods, and now all of a sudden we've got cars coming in and out that could be from, everybody has seen it, right? Every 3 cars is from out of town these days. So there's a real need. So maybe we should even bring the police department. I would really like to get the subject matter experts to weigh in here and what we should consider before we even think about a public hearing, because the public's going to be asking all kinds of questions.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic at this point, given that, we have the committee also looking at a short-term rental law. But at this point, I think the short-term rental law will not include camping, because camping is kind of different.
We're going to be looking at that later.
But I don't know how this is really different than having, the house next door being Airbnb'd, and there's 2 bedrooms and people coming and going from the bedrooms either.
When you had 4 tents going on, I have 2.
Yeah.
How many people are you thinking are going to be coming per time or per?
I think the thought conveyed before, and Colin, you can add to this.
We had talked about it before, but now we went from 4 and now we're going to 2.
Basically, he's looking at couples. So.
Well, no, it
4 people.
4 people per tent, I think it was, right?
4 people per tent.
Oh, okay.
2 adults and 2 children.
Yeah, 2 adults, 2 children. Check-ins
okay.
3 p.m., check-outs 11
Okay.
a.m.
All right.
Quieter hours are 8 to 8. So, from what I'm seeing about the parameters, but again, is there a vetting process as to, and is there any type of a record of who's come and gone, right? I don't. These are
There
just,
would be. Yeah, everything would be booked through either Airbnb or HipCamp, which is essentially Airbnb for campsites. So we're able to see who's booking it. We're able to communicate with them beforehand. We're able to send them the list of rules and make sure that they agree to them beforehand. It gives us the ability, if something does go wrong and they disappear, that we have recourse and are able to deal with that. So, we will be just as close to these tent platforms as the neighbors. And so we have no interest in people that we don't know who they are wandering around and doing who knows what.
Do you live near here? Do you
We
live?
live on the property.
The house.
Oh, you live in the house. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
I will say that's a plus, Mr. LaFleche, because was looking at the distances there, right? The distance between lot 29 and platform 1 is what, 350, and I'm guessing to your house it's probably $1.75.
Yeah, roughly.
I'm guessing you do, but is there cell phone service in that area? I know the tower's right above, but sometimes it can do weird things with you're right up against it. But is there cell phone service there?
Yeah, we get good service here.
So I guess next steps, Janelle, could you coordinate, maybe an email amongst the planning board members and Mr. LaFleche, what his availability is, maybe get a couple weekdays, a couple weekends, and then we can do a site visit. I'd like to coordinate, if you could kindly just coordinate with, at a minimum, I'd like the fire department and Brian Burns. Do we think we need to have Olive Ambulance, someone there? Steve or anybody else?
I think it would be nice. That'd be a good
Yeah,
idea.
without seeing it, I can't make a judgment.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I know where this is. I know who.
I know where it is. I'm just saying, I mean, I don't think personally I have a lot of professional knowledge to lend to this, right? But I'm not Brian Burns. I'm not Chris Winnie. I'm not who's on the ambulance, right? So when those people look at it, they're probably gonna have completely different perspectives. Maybe they'll extinguish a lot of the things I've said, which is great.
Well, we probably should just have Brian look at it from the standpoint of, if he were doing a driveway permit and what the requirements would be, and that maybe John is involved, right? So,
Mr. LaFleche, wasn't this road a bit like grassy? It's not really a road, is it?
It's a gravel driveway.
It's
yeah,
gravel.
and it-
Okay.
The one
it
going
needs-
to the house, but the one going to the campsites
This one
is,
here. Yeah.
I would say it's grown over as grass between the house and roughly where tent platform 1 is. And from that point down, the gravel is still visible on the ground. Well, it's covered with a lot of pine needles, but that is still a gravel road as well. It's just that gap where it isn't.
if it hasn't been trafficked and or maintained in years, and
It's
again,
not
I'll
very-
I'll say
yeah.
I'm not the subject matter expert either, but the net of it is, once it starts getting some serious use, it could turn into a mud pit if it's,
Yeah.
if it doesn't have a good base. I've been there when I moved into my house. In fact, here, exactly that happened. Everything was fine until about 3 weeks after we got in here. And then with the cars going up and down, it turned into a mud pit. So something to be aware of.
Mhm.
I think a visit with the fire department would be sufficient. I think that would kind of give us a sense if the fire department feels like they can get back
Yeah.
there, or there's enough room for a turnaround, then I think that the ambulance would do the same. But I think that would be valuable feedback, unless you think Brian Burns can cover both of those, or if John wants to meet us there. But I do think that would be valuable.
well, I think, and thank you, Heidi. So, Janelle, why don't we just ask them all, share this detail with them, share the letter, the parameters. And, we'd either like them to go independent of us, or we would like to go as a board and take a look. And we would appreciate their professional opinion and guidance and recommendations.
Mr. LaFleche, are you here in West Shokian all the time or?
Yeah. No, we're here full time.
Okay.
So then,
Okay.
likewise, I would think we would hopefully make that visit before the 20th of, I'm sorry, the 6th of April. We could have a follow-up discussion maybe on the 20th or the 6th of April.
Be doable.
Does that
Yeah, I
make
mean,
sense?
that I guess would be my take. Let's have a site visit and then come back to it.
Yeah, so Mr. LaFleche, I would say we'll put you on the agenda for April 6th after the public hearing
Okay.
for Maurice Lane. And then, we would just, based on the feedback of the site visit, we would, ask you to make some adjustments, so on and so forth, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. Okay.
Any other questions, board? Comment?
I guess just, do we want to do this ad hoc, or do we want to schedule groups?
Well, you're going to have to go in couple separate groups and some.
Well, yeah. To
Why don't we
avoid,
ju- why don't we just call it a formal meeting and just go?
we can do that as well.
I'm just thinking about it, like, who cares? It's a formal meeting, keep minutes. We're gonna go look.
You have to post notice of the meeting, but
That's fine. So Janelle, you'll have a date and then we'll just post notice.
All right, we'll figure it out.
I just think this one's important.
Yeah.
well,
They're all important, but this one,
it also, I'm going to suggest to the board, we'll see. I don't know what Drew thinks. He's not quite ready to release the draft of the short-term rental law yet, but in fact, there are many stipulations in there in terms of, what is required of the homeowner slash property manager that might in fact be applicable here.
Right. And Helene, if you don't mind, can you scroll down, if you will, so the page goes up? No, you can leave it to Zoom. But yes, I mean, there's just, just show Pinecrest, right? So if you, not Zoom, but just scroll, yeah. Right, there's a whole neighborhood back in there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Back in where? Sorry.
Pinecrest. So Helene, if you keep scrolling, just make the bottom of the page go up.
Yeah, I can't, I.
Okay.
It's up as it's gonna go.
Yeah, no worries.
We've run out of up.
We ran out of up.
No
I
more
mean,
up.
again, I'm sensitive because, this is similar to my neighborhood, but, Pinecrest is a residential neighborhood, right? I mean, so.
Steve,
Yeah.
how far away do you think that new code that you're working on or proposed or whatever stage it's in, how far away do you think that is from being finalized?
Oh, it hasn't been aired with the public yet, so it's got quite a ways to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so in the absence of that, I'm not looking to restrict Mr. LaFleche, but I am looking to dot the i's and cross the t's and demonstrate with a high level of diligence to that surrounding neighborhood that we've looked at this with a concerning eye, that's all.
Absolutely.
With advocacy. And again, Mr. LaFleche, it's no disrespect to you, and I'm sure you can respect what we're trying to accomplish.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's move that way. Janelle, if you can coordinate a meeting, if you can just communicate as you have been via email. I don't think that we have to divide and do this under the guise of not being a meeting. Whenever we get a date, we put out there, what do we need, 10 days?
Well, I don't even think you need to really make a public notice. It just has to go on the town calendar that you're having a meeting.
Yeah, and just say it's a site visit meeting, and and then reference SP 820. But yeah, I think there's actually power in the group visiting this site together, actually, from our different perspectives.
Yeah. And I think the closer you put it, it'd be nice if the snow was off the ground when we do it.
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can do it sometime between St. Patrick's Day and the end of March.
Yeah, just prior to the meeting, early April, anything, whatever.
Okay. Great.
Hopefully a lot of that snow will be leaving this coming week.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, it's supposed to be beautiful.
It'll be 50 on Monday.
All right, so Mr. LaFleche, will you thank you in advance for your transparency, your information, and your patience, and thank you for welcoming us to a site visit. I'm hoping I'm not being presumptuous there.
We're inviting ourselves.
See what kind of mood I'm in.
And thank you. This diagram /map is very good.
Really
good.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, not this guy. Jeez. 21 sub 1, Scott Blair and Jamie Hitler, represented by this guy. Mr. Brooks, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I've been in
Yeah.
a couple of months.
How are the grandkids?
The grandkids are very quiet right now. But I'm sure they're gearing up. And Helene, could you, for the introduction, could you just scan in on that tax map on top there? Yeah, and bring it down a little bit. Everybody ready?
Yep.
So the long and short of this is we're starting with 3 lots, and when we're done, we're going to have 2 lots. The 3 lots are owned, 2 of the lots are owned by Scott Blair, who's on tonight. So if we have any questions for him, we can ask him directly. And then the other lot is owned by Jamie Gittler, who is also on tonight. And what they're proposing to do is split one of the lots owned by Mr. Blair and divide it between the 2. So if you could, Helene, can you move, zoom in a little bit?
Zoom in.
So we're encompassing a total of about 29 acres of land between the 3 lots. 2.200, the one in the middle there, that's the one we're splitting. And actually the board created this through a subdivision back in 2016. No, I'm sorry, 2019. That was for the Rebecca Civil Golden Estate subdivision.
Golden, yeah.
Subdivision back then. This is the southern of those 2 lots. And you can see the vast portion of that lot is going to be joined to tax map lot 67, which is the one Jamie Gittler owns, and he has a house on that. Well, let me back up. 2.200 is vacant land. And then a smaller portion of that lot's going to be added to tax lot, whatever that is down there, Helene, 65. Yeah, thank you. And that lot has access directly on Bitterman Road. 2.200 has access onto High Point Road. And Jamie's lot, tax lot 67, is serviced by a right-of-way that comes up through Scott's lot 65 also. So it's relatively simple. We can look at the map now too. We're right at the, we're right at the intersection with Broadhead there. So if we can go back a little bit. So 2.200 is now 14.33 acres in size. And when we're done, there will be no 0.200, it'll be 0 acres. Jamie's lot 67 is now 3.86 acres. And when we're done, that will be increased to 14.69 acres. And then Scott's lot, the southern one most, lot number 65, is now 11.79 acres, and that gets increased up to 15.29 acres. Yes, 15.29 acres. We're in the 3-acre zone, residential. You see all the setbacks. Scott has an existing place on his southernmost lot, and Jamie has a house on his lot also. The setbacks and stuff are all shown on the map. And that's about it. That's about the simplest application I've done in the last couple of years, I think.
So what's the goal?
The goal is to make their existing lots larger and more protected. And the goal was to not put another house on that right away that services the 2 lots, and to keep that land vacant. And this is how they're achieving it. They've been working together probably over a year on this project. So,
Mr. Brooks, can I just ask a quick question? At the very southern tip of this, there's a blacktop turnaround with, it looks like access for Cohen Revocable Trust. Is there an existing easement over that corner of the property, or what's going on there? And do we need to be, you know?
Certainly. And all questions are quick. It's the answers that kill you. So that turnaround is the end of the town highway, Bitterman Road.
Mm-hmm.
And that was put in, I think, within the last 3 or 4 years for the maintenance vehicles and public traffic to turn around. And that actually touches the boundary line of Mr. Cohen's property. You've been involved with Mr. Cohen's property over the years too, because we've subdivided that out of the Golden Woodlands property. And then we did 2 lot line adjustments on that property too, adding little pieces of land here and there. So yeah, and that's the driveway into their house there.
But you don't think he needs an easement to cross that portion, since we're, making this everything on the up and up here? He doesn't need an easement to cross that portion.
Correct,
I know it's
because
town
he
made,
does-
because it's town maintained.
Right. 'Cause- 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 And Bitterman Road from the end of it there becomes a right of way, and it services his property as well as the Faulkner's property down below. And there's another private property off of that right away also. So we do the road, the right of way that services the two house lots passes through Rose property there, and that's shown also. And they also have a right of way on that to use that private right of way. Yeah.
All right.
And that red Z means those are lines that are being dissolved, correct?
Oh, no, all right, good point, thank you. That's the land hook that the cursor is on, so, and the line that's going, the boundary line that's gonna be dissolved is the blue dash lines. The solid blue lines are gonna be the new property lines. So those red lines you're referring to, they delineate the center line of the access easement from Bitterman Road into those properties. And when that easement was created for these properties, they didn't specify a width to it. So that, you know, it's not like it's a 50-foot wide right of way or anything. It's just the pre-existing right of way.
And so Rick, your tax map doesn't totally indicate this, but the location map does. So they own all the way into that triangle between Broadhead. They own all that
Yeah,
vacant space in there.
yeah, yeah. That little island between, you know, Broadhead Road has a north fork and a south fork to it. And that little island in there is wasn't owned, at one time was owned in fee, Civil Gold. And became part of this particular lot.
And there's no construction proposed, any additional buildings being built?
Correct.
No.
Guest houses?
A lot bigger.
Yeah, I know they're making the lots bigger, but.
No, they're hoping, they're planning on keeping it in its state it is now. So like I was talking to Scott this afternoon, and they're even planning on mowing, keeping the field mowed down, that runs down along the road there, keeping that open so the trees don't grow up. This is a true example of two landowners working together to put their money where their mouth is and protect their privacy and stuff. They truly are to be commended for working toward their common goal.
It's very rare when you're surveying. Usually people are fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, we love a good fight between us.
When you're charged by the line, I'm sure you do.
Oh, in our office, if we hear dispute, we say, call Brooks and Brooks. They'll take care of it.
All right, so today we have two smaller lots. You're dissolving a third lot. The two lots are getting larger. You're not creating any additional access to roads. You're leveraging existing easements. Based on our experience with you, Mr. Brooks, typically your maps are in pretty good shape.
That's all I get is pretty good.
You did have that one.
Well, you know, I was cautioned about being over exuberant, so I'm gonna say pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I guess, board, this is fairly straightforward. I mean, I would say, I'm assuming, Mr. Brooks, you've already provided Janelle what she needs to position the public hearing.
Yes, you know, she's got the application, the letters of agent from Mr. Blair, Mr. Gittler, the letter of intent, the short form EAF, Copy of all 3 subject deeds, 2 sets of the stamp and dressed adjoiner envelopes, and, you know, the 11 by 17 maps and the 4 sketch maps full size, and the PDFs I sent her. I did not send the, because it's a lot line adjustment, and I really never know how to calculate the fee. So we usually do it at a meeting.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be the next.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do it by segment. So why don't we zoom in on that?
Well, to an extent.
Right, yeah.
I would say you're really moving 2 lines.
2 or 7?
I mean, I'm not counting each individual one, but you know, that you're moving the northerly line for that southerly parcel and the easterly line for the northerly parcel. It depends on how picky you want to get.
I'm not trying to be picky, but we're dissolving. I mean, the dotted lines are, if I heard you, Mr. Brooks, the dashed lines are dissolving, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I count 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
I don't think that's being picky. Steve, Heidi, Nick,
I'm going to stay out of it.
Oh, jeez.
We've had the discussion whether it's lines or line segments before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like recently we went with lines and not segments.
yeah, I mean, especially, this is not the case here, but where you've got some zigzag property line that's 100 segments, we traditionally don't count every segment, right?
So then what do you want to, okay, so we've got 1. You want to say 3 then?
Sounds
4.
reasonable.
2.
It would be maybe 4. The top one going across, one going down, then the next one going across, and then
2,
that,
3.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I mean, there's 2 ways you can count it, right? Like Steve just called me out on, which is appropriate, right? So
1, 2, 3, 4.
no, it's the dotted lines.
it's what it's
I'm not better when you're taking it away. Are you doing line segments or you're doing dotted lines? 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, that's what I was saying, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Okay, here.
Let's say 4.
Let's say 4.
I'll make a motion that we assess. I'll make a motion that we assess 21 sub 1 Scott Blair and Jamie Gittler. We assess them 4 lines. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No one's.
Hey,
All right,
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Brooks.
I'm sticking with my 2 because only because of what we said the last couple people, but that's all right. You guys are good.
Did you vote no?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Where do you find the lines, Heidi? Yeah.
Well, I'm just defining it as the easterly line and the northerly line because on those 2 properties, only because on the last couple ones we did, that's how we did it. I'm just trying to be consistent. That's all.
Can I ask a dumb question?
And 2.
whoever's asking.
Yeah.
This is Scott Blair. Why are we counting lines? I'm just curious why we're counting lines. I've never heard of this before.
So
The town charges a fee based on how many lines are being moved, changed.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
That's all.
And
So
it's
we
50
voted on 4. We had 1 dissent, so I think we landed on 4.
Okay. And it's $50 a line, correct?
I'll confirm with you on that, Rick. I
Okay.
don't have the schedule in front of me. And then
Right.
there's also the $25
Yeah.
Park and Recreation.
legal fee, the
Right.
legal ad.
Yep.
I'll get the fees and send you the amount.
Very good.
But Mr. Blair, we're not trying to be greedy.
I was just curious about the lines.
Yeah, that's all. It is tricky. I mean, to Heidi's point, I don't know if it's a lack of consistency. It's just not clear, and the code basically doesn't really direct us. So
Well defined.
right, not well defined. So I think 4 is amicable. Okay, so Mr. Brooks, I would say, and Janelle, we've already got 1 scheduled public hearing for Tuesday, the 6th at 7:10. based on tonight's performance, I would feel comfortable saying 7:35 and then have Mr. LaFleche go after that public hearing. So that's 3 agenda items for the April 6th meeting.
Just remember that that first public hearing for the lanes is actually like, you know, you're gonna discuss both a site plan and a subdivision.
Yeah, that's true, but I think we can get it done in 30 minutes if we start, or 25 minutes,
Okay,
you know.
so you're gonna have the lanes and then we're gonna have Mr. LaFleche.
No, let's do the public hearings side by side.
Together, that's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll put Mr. LaFleche at the end. So then really there's only room for one more item on the 6th.
So with this public hearing, what time did you say on that, Dave?
I would say 7:35.
Okay,
I would think this one's gonna go pretty smoothly. I mean, to someone's point, right? This is harmony in motion here, so this is great. This is beneficial. And thank you, Mr. Blair and Mr.
Typically
you,
don't get a
everybody.
lot of.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mr.
Amy.
Brooks. Mr. Brooks, you know what to do? You don't need us to walk you through it, do you?
I got it. No, actually, my staff has it. I don't know nothing. All right, thank you.
Grandkids,
Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was swift. Cool. All right, 21 sub 2, Rivka Tadger and Roberto Gardardello?
Yes, hello.
Hello. All right, you're in for the long haul.
I'm good. We're enjoying this.
Lee, can we turn this, puppy?
I'm gonna try.
All right.
Watch me. What? The wrong way, of course. You only have two shots at it. One more time.
All right, so this is on 215 Mountain Road, 5.37 acres subdivision.
Right.
So go right ahead, Ms. Tadger, and tell us what you want to do, please.
Okay, so we want to take a 1.33 acre lot that you see there on the lower left and subdivide it. So the road here, it's a cleared property. So Joe Bowick did the septic and the health department has approved it, and it's cleared and it has an easy driveway cut. So we want to subdivide that area.
You're separating 1.33 acres from a 5.37 acre lot today, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you're creating the.
I'm sorry, what?
I thought someone else asked a question. Did someone else ask a question?
No.
No.
So you're creating a 1.33 acre lot from what exists today is 5.37, which is going to leave a 4.04 on, I'm guessing that's the northeast, the 4.04. Okay.
Yeah, that's where the house is located.
Yep.
Yep.
So our house is located there on the upper right.
Correct.
And then across the road, there's another field and the apple orchard, and we're just portioning off 1/4 basically.
Yeah, that one.
And who is your surveyor?
Colin Houston?
Okay, is Mr. Houston here?
No.
Okay. And today Mountain Roads separates the lot, yeah?
Correct.
And you're planning to build a new home on lot 2B, correct?
Well, we were actually going to sell lot 2B.
Okay.
So there's an
There's the barn.
existing barn, 2 barns actually, on the proposed lot that are, I mean, you know, as John Ingram said to us, well, they're, you know, they're probably older, and whether people would rip them up and do something new or try to grandfather in or whatever, but we are not planning on building anything.
Okay, so you want to subdivide this, demonstrating that it's a buildable lot for commercial purposes, you know, sell it as a residential lot. Okay.
Yes. According to all the zoning and stuff that exists there. Question?
Hello?
Hey,
Ed, do you have a question? There was a little bit of background.
I have Carol, I think you and Bruce are probably in the same room, so one of
We
you.
are.
should use-
I'm gonna move.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
it's, so, pardon me, with all due respect, so it's not a public hearing. Question and comments we'll just reserve for the board for this evening and the applicant. So, okay, so I guess board, any comments or questions? We're peeling off 1.33 from 5.37, subsequently creating 2 lots that are separated by Mountain Road. The new lot is gonna have 2 existing barns on it. The applicant has shared that their desire is to put it on the market for a residential lot for someone to build. So I guess my first comment is that, they have to demonstrate this is a buildable lot. They're sharing with us, they have approved primary, secondary septic.
Yeah, we have, we have all the plans here. Okay, yeah.
With the DEP approval?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they obviously have the road frontage. Is Mountain Road a county road, Steve, or does anybody know?
Yes.
Yeah, it is, okay. Yep.
County road, yeah.
All right.
Remember we got talked to about the bicycle rentals being on.
That's right, yep. So we definitely want to, get this to the county for them to look at the appropriate time. Colleen, if you can just go back to the existing lot, so, and then I think it's the northeast.
I guess I would like to see a proposed home site and the well placement as well from
We give you the paperwork already.
the
So
standpoint.
the well placement and all that, we had the paperwork that we delivered to the planning board. I mean, this is
Okay.
from Joe Boeck's.
Okay, I haven't.
Yeah, we did deliver that.
Okay, it's on the bigger
And
map.
proposed home site because, because we're not gonna build on it, and whether we, sell it later or just hold on to it or whatever we do. We don't have a proposed home site since we're not planning on building on it.
Yeah, the issue is just to essentially demonstrate that in some shape or form, it's buildable.
Yeah, so we have.
Yeah, we have that.
What we have here is we have the, which we provided. We have the,
4-family or.
yeah, we have the 4-bedroom house septic. We have the well detail. We have the precast septic tanks. We have the health department approval. I mean, we can deliver this again.
They're showing the barn as a house site.
Yeah, so we were asked to provide,
Right.
to have Colin provide offsets for the existing buildings that are there. So one's a barn and, well, there's 2 barns, one's sort of a
Yeah.
workshop. It's got a more concrete floor. Yes,
Right, and the Board of Health on this document approved one of the existing barns. This is existing barn to be converted into 4-bedroom dwelling and studio. So at the very least, that
Yep.
has been approved.
Okay.
It looks like that well location on your septic design is would be on your neighbor's property, would be on your property now.
No, it's on the same lot.
wait, how is that? The approved septic?
Well, you got your well, like you got the existing barn, and then you got the well, and it shows a 100-foot, buffer they have to have between your septic. And it looks, I mean, I'm just eyeing this, but it looks like it would be possibly over the new line.
You're saying the 100 feet would be over the line?
I mean, it's a tight area. I'm just saying, that well is pretty close to the property line.
Yeah.
Isn't there a certain distance you need to be off the property line for a well?
I
as well, too?
don't think we have zoning that has a setback for a well.
All right. I mean, it looks like I'm just eyeballing it, but it looks like it would be over the line right now, the proposed well.
Well, and I think Board of Health requires 10 feet.
Yeah.
For a well from the septic. I think that it would be very useful, Nick is right, to have Colin Houston map where the proposed well has been approved based on Joe Bowick's plans.
Yeah. It's a little, I mean, it's not
Yeah.
that tight, but it's a little bit tight because you have the water course as well that they show.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Dave?
No, I said, it would be very helpful, like Heidi said, to know where the well is and, your.
Yeah, because
septic area
it's funny,
is-
I, as a layman here, I didn't notice that, but he has it completely mapped out in Joe Boag's plan, and then Colin didn't put it on here, so we can definitely do that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay,
Just so we can see the well in relation to the property line and.
yeah, because it's not anywhere near the line. It's well, at
Yeah.
least it looks like on this plan. Okay, we'll have him do that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So board, I just wanted to tell you that we have received an email correspondence from one of the neighbors with regard to this. And they're they're pointing out that they believe that this area is 3-acre zone and not 1-acre zone.
Yeah, I believe John said that he believes it's 1 acre, but we'll need to.
Let's hear what John has to say.
Want to see what the map looks like, the map in the office, not take it from here.
Well, I
Yeah.
think Heidi has Heidi, the new.
Just
We
looking
have the
for
good
it.
map, the good map versus
Ed's-
the other maps.
That's still very difficult, you know.
Okay,
On the subdivision map, they have a discrepancy. It says the zoning is R3, and then they say it's required 1 acre. So there's a discrepancy from the surveyor. So
all right, so we'll definitely have to solve for that for sure.
that's the first thing we have to resolve is.
Wait,
if
can you
this is-
repeat that? What was the discrepancy?
We have to determine whether this is a 1-acre zone or a 3-acre zone before we go further. Because if it's a 3-acre zone, you'd need a variance to do this.
So, so
If
when
it's
we
a
spoke
1-acre-
with John,
if it's a 1-acre zone, it would be legal.
so when we went and met with John before, so the zoning, he said, was 1 acre by the town maps. And if a lot has both 3-acre and 1-acre zoning on it, it reverts to the 1 acre. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's got to be a description somewhere in the office of where the 1 acre and the 3 acres start.
Right, so we went to the office and it
Okay.
showed on the map on Mountain Road that it's 1 acre on Mountain Road, so that's what we were going by before we did all this.
R3 right here, that's what Ed's talking about, right here.
I'm sorry, what?
Right here, where I'm circling, it says
Yeah,
zoning R3, and that's what Ed is referring to.
Right, but I guess, so Ed, to your point, who's the final arbiter? Is that John's role to?
I would say John would determine what zone it's in.
Yeah.
And I believe there's a description somewhere of where one zone starts and one ends, whether the center of the road or whatever, you know. It's very vague on the map.
Okay,
It looks like it should be 2,000 feet, whatever 2,000 feet is north of 28 is included in 1
Get-
acre,
get
and then
your tape
above
measure
that is
out.
3 acre.
One there.
So is the issue, I'm sorry, is the issue, just for clarification,
Grab the hot pad.
is the issue that that the zone R3 is the wrong label for this
If it's
subdivision?
1 acre, it wouldn't be R3, it means 3 acres, residential 3 acres.
so your header on your table says R3, but your value is 1, so.
Okay, so when we met with John, we looked at the map to assure that, the map in the Olive Town office to see where the line was, to assure that it was 1 acre. So Colin made a mistake in this labeling, is that?
Well, certainly the labeling, the header would need to be corrected, but I think we're not going to solve for this on this call. It's been,
Well, question to John, I mean, John, is that something you need to investigate further?
Yeah, I'll look in the morning when I go to the office.
Okay, so we need, before we can really take much of any action on this, we need clarification as to whether this is in 1 acre or 3 acre zoning, because if it's in 3 acre zoning, it would need to go to the zoning board.
Yeah.
right, as a variance.
Well, can they even do that? Can the zoning board do that, John?
Can they do,
Can you get a variance to create a substandard lot?
Cannot.
Well, we actually, so when we went to speak with John in last year, so I think that this is incorrect, the zoning thing, because we looked at the map there and it showed that it was a 1 acre zone, so.
We went there twice.
So why don't we just wait for John's assessment in the morning?
Yeah,
Wait a
well,
minute.
John's assessment. And then outside of that, so let's just put a pin in that.
Okay.
In terms of everything else, so Nick, you called out the well, so that would be something to look at.
Well,
And
we
David-
have that mapped out, so he can just add that to the map.
Well, just,
David, I have a copy of the map right here.
well, we'll defer to John in the office, and, because we have maps as well, Miss Lamanda, and let's just let John, who's the official, and meet with the applicants, and they'll solve it.
David,
I can't hear him, can you?
I think they're in the same
Together,
house.
together.
and- Yeah, you guys should turn off one phone because you're interfering with each other's cell. If you're in the same house, if you turn one off, you'll stop having.
Well, that's okay, it's not a public hearing, and it's getting late, and so
Okay.
we got to solve for that. Once that's done and that puts a needle in it, I mean, if it is 3 acre, I mean, I'm not sure what your path is, you'll have to,
No, we're just working out the fact that it was 1 acre. That's so
Yep.
let's just see what it is in the morning.
if it is 1 acre.
Okay.
Nick provided some guidance around the well. Is there any
Okay.
other call outs the board wants to mention at this point, based on what you've seen on the 1.33 acre 2B lot?
The only thing I did at, because of this, the setbacks are not meeting the regular setbacks, the required setbacks for front and side yard, well, the side yard, I guess, does, but, and it also varies,
It's existing non-conforming.
so you can keep them.
Well, not on the side. The side would have to meet the setback. The line that they're creating
Right,
would have to meet the setback from the barn as per zoning.
Right.
right.
Well, he moved it to meet current
Right,
setback.
that's a little
I
jog,
see,
right?
I see he zigzagged it.
Yeah, he zigzagged so it would not be a pre-existing, so it would meet current.
And
That's
the,
it. That's if it's 1 acre zone.
the
Right.
front,
If it's a
Front
3 acre
setback
zone,
here.
that might go away, yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think-
we're just going upon the advisement that it was 1 acre zone. So let's
Okay.
just make sure that that's good before we do anything else. We're good
Right.
with that.
So both sides, they're gonna make it 3 acres.
And I think, Helene, it's the line to the right, but anyway, okay.
And the barn, because it's right on the road, that doesn't matter because it's just there.
it's existing.
Existing non-conforming, which we've
I
had,
mean-
we've had other barns on, what's the other road, Bostock, I think, right? That barn is on the road, right?
No, I know, but we just made, with Stuckey, we couldn't do anything because there was pre-existing things there and you were creating the new lot.
I'm sorry, what is the box with the X's? Did I miss?
I'm sorry, what are you looking at?
On the right, to the right-hand side. Here,
Right, the box, hold on.
the rectangular box with the X's?
It's like a
Oh,
garden.
this one is a former garden. Yeah, that one here.
Oh, that is it's a formal garden. I mean, it just is an old fenced, was a garden.
Okay,
That's there. I'm not sure why it's Xed out, honestly.
It's because there is a structure with the pillar, wooden pillar that's
Oh,
surrounded the
there's
garden.
one pillar. Yeah, it's
There's
not
4
really, it's not really in its glory as a formal garden, but we do
Maybe you
provide
could
for the
just-
birds all year long.
maybe you could just label it.
Okay,
Maybe just put a label on it, what it is, yeah.
okay.
He kind of labels the fence on the upper fence and then, I mean, it's kind of common, they put typical and it kind of covers
Okay.
everything else on there.
Okay.
but- I mean, he already has it on there, but I mean,
Okay, okay. Oh, I see the fence up above, yeah.
yeah, typical.
The fence is not in good shape, so that's funny to me that it's a fence, but yes, that is what it was.
Well, I mean, if it's just a broken down, fallen down fence, I'd say you don't need it, but.
Okay.
but-
Hey, Nick, do you think they need any kind of brief utility easement for that pole that's going to cross the property line there from Lot 2B to Lot 2A? Because now they're going to need to access, whoever owns 2B is going to need to access that pole potentially on 2A.
And 2A,
Oh, I see. If they do that, yeah, do they need? an
If they
easement?
need access to that pole for any reason.
Oh, utility easement, yeah.
Yeah, we've had that discussion before that if Because typically the line from the house to the pole is the homeowner's responsibility, so they would need access to that for repairs if an electrician had to get up there or something.
I don't, on that kind of, I don't think they would need an easement for that technically. I mean, it's kind of in the, you know, the right of way almost. I mean, I know the
Yeah, I mean, it is.
property
right
line goes to
next
center
the road.
line, you know, but that's, you know, their utility pole is existing. I mean, it's different with the other lot that we just did, you know, where the
It's-
easement is crossing over the property, you know.
I guess it's whether it's within the right of way of the county road, right?
Yeah,
If it's within the right of way, then it's not an issue.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else, board? It's,
So you guys would tell us if we needed that? I mean, we would just do it, right?
Well, I guess Ed, others, what's the typical? Is it 25 feet from the center of the line of the road?
Yeah,
So if that pole is within 25 feet of the center line of the road, it's okay.
Okay.
so it's something to, again, given that the critical path here is the proper designation, so we'll lean on John for that of the zoning. But, you know, I would reach out to your surveyor and based on the guidance here, you know.
Yeah.
More,
Yeah, I'm just making notes to tell him. Yeah.
more is better, in quotes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, board, do we have anything else at this point for,
So is there a, so in terms of the zoning, if it turns out it's 1 acre, is it supposed to be O3 RE1? Or is it supposed to be ZR3? What is it supposed to be zoned as if it's 1 acre?
is it RR1, board?
RE1? Is that?
I'm asking.
Oh, sorry.
I think is it RR1? No?
We have two names for it because we also call it ex-urban residential.
Yeah, so I'm gonna defer to John when you meet with him, and he'll provide you what that should be, and then Colin, your surveyor, should be able to follow suit with that.
Okay. I'm just making notes for him. I just wanted to know what he's supposed to do.
I think it's a real potential sticking point, so let's make sure we,
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. I just
really
want
know
to
what
make
it-
sure it's correct.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, Steve, Ed, Nick, Helene, Heidi, Tim. I don't think I missed anyone. Do you have any other comments regarding this? at
Nope.
this stage?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
All right, well, Ms. Tadger and Mr. Gardadello, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, you know, we'll look for, so you'll meet with John. John will provide you with some feedback, and then based upon that, you'll meet with Janelle, and potentially we could put you on the agenda for the 6th, and then that would be it.
Okay, and is John still on?
Yeah,
John, so are you in tomorrow since it's Wednesday?
yeah, we're working on appointments only, so we need to call the office about 9 o'clock and see when there's an available appointment tomorrow morning.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
All right, board, so we're down to, I guess, just a short discussion point on Sailor Mill. Janelle, did you have a discussion point?
I did not. You guys just, I don't know if you want to
Like-
just,
Confirm that we're gonna continue the public hearing at our next meeting.
We've agreed that we're gonna shorten the comment period to 3 minutes.
Yep.
Helene, do you have the ability with a timer and some type of a noise to just at 2 minutes go ding, or would you prefer I do that?
I have a timer. I have a timer.
And then at 2 minutes, it could make like just a brief, like a bell noise?
It can make a bell noise, yeah.
So then that would be the plan, is we would leave you off of mute. And then at 2 minutes, you would just do that we would let the speakers know at the beginning, and then when they hear the bell, that's, you know, that's their 1 minute warning, and then at 3 minutes, I would just respectfully jump in and say, you know, your time is up. I don't want to put that burden on Catherine. I'll just shoulder that. So Janelle, hopefully you capture that, and that'll be the modus operandi for the public hearing continuing, is 3 minutes. There'll be a 2-minute warning with a bell. And then David Sorbellini will politely, anybody who runs along, ask them to please enter the balance of their comments written or submit.
Okay. So now, David, I think, had like a list of the people that had already kind of signed up that didn't get to speak.
Yeah, so he doesn't have power and he had to leave. He dropped me a note. So yeah, he'll share that list with me. It's on Box, I believe, or I'm sorry, Google Sheets. And I'll just work off of that. I mean, it literally just has their name. So if there's any conspiracy theory that one contingent's going for another, I mean, I'm literally just reading off a sheet. I am blind to any perspective that they have. It's just their name and their address, I think, and that's it. So I'll have access
Actually,
to that.
I would like to make the point that, in fact, that for the first pass at the public hearing, the same was true. We were just going in the order of the people who signed up. So I know there was some comments about the speakers being somehow stacked, but definitely not the case.
So I've gotten an email, somebody new onto the list asking to be like the first on the list, but of course they wouldn't be first on the list because we already have an established list. Is that?
That's correct. We are continuing with it was a first come, first serve. I don't believe there are any accommodations that I'm aware of. And yes, we already have 22 or 23 at last count. And David Ettinger has just been, whatever you've been submitting to him, he's just been adding them to the list. I will be reading from that list and we'll just go in order. 3 minutes, 2-minute warning bell, hard stop at 3.
Okay.
I wasn't at the last one because I
But
couldn't.
was there
That
some
wasn't
reason?
happen-
Was
It
there
was-
some reason they felt they should go first?
They just said they wanted to be first on the list for that meeting, but
Well,
Maybe-
they'll be the first one added to the list after they place their request.
Maybe because they had a pre-existing condition.
Yeah, that's it.
it was actually, it's Penny and Penny Schutzel saying that she is going to be representing and speaking on the behalf of the Rockwell family.
Is there anything that has to be presented during that meeting?
The same rules. So Janelle, you did put another public notice out. I think that's what we agreed to, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Right, so it's the same, so the website should still have the same information that the public can view and also the same, if you will, business rules or rules of engagement.
Right, so we just have to change the,
5 to 3.
Bless you.
Can anybody hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
there were people showing items.
We can hear you, Helene.
Okay, I was asking,
Yeah.
is there anything that I need to be presenting? Because I wasn't at the last one. It was just a
Oh, I
public hearing.
I
So
think
just-
we
just-
were enabling.
Yeah, so Helene, we won't ask you to drive. We'll allow individuals to share their screens.
Okay. God bless.
You're,
Sorry about
you're
that.
lagging a little bit, Helene. Maybe I am too, but that's why it seems a little odd.
Okay, because I just felt like no one was hearing me at all because I asked 3 times. And I thought, okay, I guess I'm muted, but I don't see that I'm muted.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
I have a kind of a soft voice too, I think. I don't know. I just
You need that bell.
I have to get bell. I have to get the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yay.
So the only lineup that we're stacking is Brett Gardner and Justin Wilson were re-signed by the Yankees.
There you go.
And we're gonna have the best one. I don't know which Justin lineup. I think he's 5, right? Anyway, that'll be the
But you
best.
know that's in the minutes, right?
Can we adjourn?
Yeah.
I agree.
Heidi, we're just getting to the good part with the Yankees.
I'm a Red Sox fan. Sorry.
All right, well, Heidi, to your point, I'll make a motion that at 9:19, we close the the planning board meeting for March 2nd.
Dear, I second it.
All right.
All right, everybody, stay warm. Have a good
Yeah,
evening.
have a
Well,
good-
take care.
Likewise, take care.
Right.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.